Godot BootCamp lesson on updating the player's username. The purpose of this lesson is to highlight one piece of critical data that we receive as part of the authentication response, the player name. In the example JSON response shown here, the player name is Jimmy, but until a player name is actually set, an empty string will be returned instead. We'll be using the player's username in an upcoming lesson to post a score to a leaderboard. Let's take a few moments to cover how to change the player's username. On the left, close the brainCloud wrapper and then click Client API. Scroll down and click Player State, then click Update Username. To make an update username request, we need to supply a string parameter that represents the username. Checking the response, there isn't any critical data that we need to capture. Open Visual Studio Code and navigate to the network.cs file. Declare a pair of public callback delegates that will be used for handling an update username request. Declare a private member variable called mUsername of type string. Implement a public method called getUsername. This method will return the mUsername member variable. In the logout method success lambda, set the mUsername member variable to an empty string. Scroll down and find the handle authentication success method. In the body, after the output log statement, deserialize the JSON response data and then parse the data object from the response object. Parse the player name string from the data object and assign the value to the mUsername member variable. Declare a public method called updateUsername. This method takes in a string to represent the username and the updateUsername callback delegates as the parameters. In the body, check to see if the user is authenticated. If the user is not authenticated, format an error message and then invoke the handled request error method, passing in the error message and the error delegate as the arguments. Declare success callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, log the response data. Deserialize the JSON response data and then parse the data object from the response object. Parse the player name string from the data object and assign the value to the mUsername member variable. Finally, if the success callback delegate is not null, it will be invoked. Next, declare fail callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, format an error message. And then invoke the handle request error method, passing in the formatted error message and the error delegate as the arguments. Invoke brainCloud's player state services update username request, passing in the username parameter and the callback lambdas as the arguments. Save the file and then navigate to the change username dialog.cs file. In the onChange button clicked method, delete the to-do comment and then invoke the network's update username method, passing in the value of the text field as the argument. Save the file and then compile the code. If the code was successfully compiled, open the Godot editor. Run the game. Click the brainCloud button, then click Change Username. Enter a username and then click Change. The username was successfully changed. We can verify this by logging out and then re-logging in and viewing the output data. Click Logout and then click Login. Enter the credentials of the profile that was just logged in and then click Login. If we check the output window, we'll see that the username is set in the authentication response. An overview of the Design Portal's API Explorer is the next lesson in the Godot BootCamp.